I would like to tell you a story about my addiction. It's actually a story about our addiction to oil. Look around you and see how many items that you own right now is made of crude oil or petroleum. The device that you're using right now to watch this video is probably made of crude oil, since plastics, they come from the distillation process of crude oil. Now you see how many items that we have right now that are made of crude oil and how we are all addicted to oil. The scientists are predicting within 50 years, the supply of oil will run low. And how can we survive without oil? How can we fuel our cars in the future? Is it even possible to move away from oil? Is it expensive to transition from oil? First, we need to learn why we need to stop using gasoline. The first one is we know that fossil fuels are not renewable resources. It takes millions of years to create them. And since the supply is running low right now, we need to find other alternatives to fuel our cars. And the second one is climate change. Transportation is one of the major contributors to climate change, since vehicles um, emit the carbon to the atmosphere. And the third one is the process of mining gasoline, or what we call it fracking. The process is really bad for the environment. It could damage the groundwater resources, and if it's done offshore, the oil spills can damage the oceans and also its ecosystem. And since the supply is running low right now, some of the countries are trying to find more areas to mine and even offshore. And some countries even sending troops to areas such as Middle East to guard the oil fields. So are there really other alternatives to gasoline? Well, if you go to gas pumps, you're probably going to see the gasoline with its different octane grades and maybe diesel. But there are no competition for gasoline, since most of our vehicles that are driven in our highways are mostly fueled by gasoline. Even the car producers are producing cars and selling cars, and they're mostly fueled by gasoline. So how do we stop using gasoline? So we can start by transitioning our vehicles to flex fuel car. So what is a flex fuel car? So a flex fuel car is a car that can use either gasoline or ethanol, or even a mix of gasoline and ethanol up to 83%. One of the successful story of transitioning gasoline to ethanol is Brazil. In 1975, Brazil were able to transition from gasoline to ethanol, and up to 90% of the vehicles in Brazil could run on ethanol. And ethanol is cleaner and cheaper compared to gasoline. And since the booming usage of ethanol, it created more jobs and also supported the economy development in Brazil. And in the US alone, back in 2017, Forbes reported that US government subsidized around $629 billion of dollars in fossil fuels alone. So maybe we can use that money to fund something else, such as education or public health. So what are our options to help to sustain our planet? Well, first, there are some alcohol-based fuels such as ethanol or methanol, and then hydrogen-powered car, and we also have biofuels and battery-powered cars, or what we call EVs. And is it really expensive to transition or moving away from gasoline? Um, Not really. So if you check your cars, it might be compatible with ethanol already. So check the trunk of your car. If you see the flex fuel symbol or logo on the trunk, that means your car is ready. Or the other way to tell is if you check your gas cap, if it's yellow, that means it's ready for ethanol. And the kit, like in this picture right here, it only costs about $150 once you install it in your car, and your car will be ready to become a flex fuel vehicle. And sometimes it's only a one click away to transition from gasoline to ethanol. One hacker found out that you can connect your car's computer to cars to your computer, and by only changing the setting of your car, it might be able to run on ethanol. But guess what? Hacking your computers, car computers, is illegal, and even using fuels that is not recommended by your car's manufacturers could void your warranty. So even though you own your car, but there's some restriction to it. You cannot adjust some of the settings. So what can we do? So you can write to your senators about it, right? Every year that passes without congressional actions will make us becoming more dependent to oil. And if there's no demand, there will be no supply. So if we starting transition from gasoline to flex fuel cars, that would help to jumpstart the program. Why would we sending our brothers, fathers, sisters, and sons to those oil-rich countries to protect their oil fields while we can produce the sustainable fuels here in America? So why don't you convert your car to flex fuel cars? And maybe next time you're thinking about buying a new car, remember to buy a flex fuel car or even a battery powered car or EV like Tesla.